there was a time in my life that I was heavily focused on building security, which required me to give some of my freedom. And in hindsight, I realized it was okay because now it supports my new levels of freedom, which in previous states I could not acquire because I didn't have enough security to support it. But at some point I got stuck in security mindset, which has led to some blockage in how much can I keep going. And then undoubtedly I felt the desire to connect deeper to the spiritual truth again, to ascend to higher levels where I've been previously. But it wasn't like a clear destination. It's still not a clear destination. Which brings me to the main point, a life in which we walk a spiritual path. The life in which we walk a spiritual path requires us to question a lot of the norms that we are used to and the way in which we have programmed ourselves to be. We all know that the 3D reality in which money, possessions, and security is something we all need in order to survive to some extent on this material plane. Yet, when we only remember those values of gaining more things, we might lose sight of the deeper truth of life and the deeper meanings of it.
So, after I've just seen what I've seen, it made me realize that more than I feel like worried, worry is terrible. It's unfortunate. In such crisis or horrible situations, people really, either shut off and try to live in a way that will secure them and protect them. And there is me, who realizes that, life is so fragile. And what if one day I will wake up and realize that I was wasting days and days of my life trying to fit into the image that anyone has formed that I should be. Made me realize that living through what I think and what I feel and what I believe is so much more important to me than fearfully living someone else's life or following someone else's ideas of what my life should be like. Because it could end at any moment, and I don't want to be one of those people who wish they lived more instead of work themselves too much to please people they don't even like.
But in a beautiful way, when you start to work on your spiritual blocks after working on some time on security, you start to realize that it actually all intertwines, as well as working on your spirituality supports your growth and your manifestations on the material plane. However, you must do so with such detachment to a point where you don't even remember that that's the purpose, because it's not. It's only when you realize that you must be detached from your desires, whatever they are, whether it's attaining enlightenment or if it's getting more things materially. You must stay detached from what you actually desire and follow a spiritual path which might take you to many different directions that you don't even know. We tend to live in a state of attachment to habits, beliefs, patterns, places, people, and understandings of ourselves. And it's only when we let them go entirely that we are open to receive new viewpoints, much deeper truth, and things that previously went unseen. simply because we didn't consider them to be a possibility. But letting go requires you to be fearless. It requires you to realize that the only way forward is through.
I'm just happy to be here. Alive. Really.
Through your fears of loss, of abandonment, or anything that might keep you in the same place or with the same circumstances that you've always been. It's only when you surrender your needs, your desires, your wants, and truly follow a calling that you can open up to so many blessings beyond whatever you thought was possible. And another beautiful thing about the spiritual path is that it is unique for each individual. There is not one formula, there is not one way to acquire spiritual truth. But what it is the requirement to step away and find your own truth and find your own spiritual path. And like in anything that is new, taking the initiative and taking the first steps and forming your own path and not following a path that was already chosen for you requires you to get to know yourself, to stand strong in who you are, and make it a commitment to get to know who you are, even if you've never known. The lost self, I would call, the authentic self, the true self. And it might be lost because it depends on how heavily have you been programmed. But it's always there, always available in the moment that you choose to wake up. It takes courage to be different, but don't be afraid. You can allow the other side of you